Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we're going to be doing my June bullet journal. So in this video we're going to be going into my bullet journal, deciding on a theme for the month and executing all of my spreads, picking out colors, drawing everything in, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. So something I've been doing recently on TikTok has been at the beginning of every month, oh my goodness, it was auto playing a video. At the beginning of every month I've been posting a video on TikTok where I ask people to give me theme suggestions for the next month's bullet journal theme. I feel like it's a really fun way to be interactive and hear other people's ideas. So if you have any good ideas for me for my bullet journal, definitely go over to my TikTok and comment it over there, because every time somebody comments something really good, even if I don't use it for that coming month, I add it to a running list of theme ideas that I have on my phone. So if in a couple months I can't think of anything, I'll go back and reference that and maybe pick one from there. So I had a couple of ideas floating around for June, but I wasn't exactly sure of what I wanted to do. So I was definitely ready to pick something from the comments, and somebody had commented something that I thought was so cute, and I'm glad that a lot of other people thought it was cute too, because it got so many likes. So I got a lot of comments on this. 68 people recommended things for me to do, and a lot of them were super cute, but the one that got the most likes, Erin Collins commented this, and 59 people liked it. 2 people replied and were like, this is the cutest idea. She said to do the Beatles, Hey June, instead of Hey Jude. I thought that was so cute. When I first saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, that is so cute. And you guys know that I love to do a little pun with the name of the month. For example, I'm in my May era, and last year in May I did May the Force Be With You. So I do love puns, and I thought it was a really cute idea, except for the fact that I don't know a lot about the Beatles. As much as I love 60s and 70s fashion and some music and stuff like that, I don't know a lot of Beatles music. I think it's just something that wasn't something that my parents were really into, so I was never listening to that around the house when I was a kid. And as I've gotten older, I know all of their popular songs, but I don't really know a lot about each of their album eras, or a lot about the members really either. But I thought that since it was such a cute idea and so many people liked that idea, and it fits with my kind of groovy psychedelic theme that I've been doing the past few years, I feel like it will be a really cool idea. While I am working on this journal, I'm going to try and listen to a couple of the Beatles albums from the era that Hey Jude came out in. From my research so far, I've learned that Hey Jude was a non-album single, and it was recorded in 1968, which was right in between a couple of their albums. I think it was originally recorded for the White Album, but it wasn't on that album. But this was also in the era when they did a lot of really cool psychedelic rainbow colored album covers. So I was texting my boyfriend about it yesterday, and we were talking about how we love the album covers from this era of the Beatles. I'm going to show you some of the ones that I like, and I feel like these art styles are things that I've already done before and are very similar to my own personal art style, so I think it'll be really fun to work on. So for those of you who don't know, I just made this painting, which I feel like is a really similar art style to what I'm going to go for this video. I feel like this is my regular art style. If you recognize this illustration, it's probably because you've seen it in my bullet journal before. This was my June bullet journal from last year. I knew that it was going to be a really cool poster, so I made it into this. I'm working on getting prints made of this right now, so if you really like this, hopefully the prints will be in my Etsy shop soon. So we really love the Yellow Submarine album cover. This is one that I've totally pinned this image on Pinterest before, and the other posters and stuff from this era, because I love this art style. I also love the Magical Mystery Tour cover, which is just so fun and rainbow, and I love that text style. And of course, Sgt. Pepper's also. And because I always like to give credit to original artists who really inspired a certain style that I'm emulating, or I'm just drawing inspiration from theirs, I feel like it would be cool to talk about the artist that designed this era of the Beatles album art, and his name was Heinz Edelmann. He was a Czech and German illustrator and designer, and I think that psychedelic, beautiful art style that we've all, I mean me, have come to know and love and really emulate in my own work is really derivative of his stuff, which I think is so cool. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. I'll pop some images on the screen. I haven't decided if I'm going to make the divider page an actual picture of the Beatles, because I don't know if I want to do that level of homage to them, just because I don't know a lot about them yet, but I guess we're gonna work on my divided page first and then we'll decide. I realized I also have done a lot of drawing musicians already this year, because I did these illustrations of Taylor Swift, and in March I drew Daisy Jones and the Six, the band. So I feel like it would be cool to continue that homage to musicians and make this journal just like a really music-centric journal, which I feel like it has been already. My 2023 like year-long theme was this like psychedelic me in a little rainbow wonderland theme, and that's like exactly what we're going for June, which I think is cool. Hey girly pops, so I made this little Pinterest board of ideas for my bullet journal, so I just wanted to kind of show you some of the things that I've pinned. So this is the Hey Jude single cover, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this is the 1968 vinyl release of Hey Jude, and I absolutely love this text play right here. I used to do so much art that had a similar like funky text like this. This was like my bread and butter, like maybe 4 years ago. Everything that I made had this little text thing on it, and so I think that I want to use this, and I love the colors here, but I do really want to incorporate that Heinz Edelmann like psychedelic illustration style also, because I don't want to just like do a photo or something like this and cut it out and put it in my journal. So I went in to pin a bunch of, these are mostly stills from the Beatles Yellow Submarine like movie and like the music video for the song Yellow Submarine, because that was all drawn and animated, I think, by Heinz Edelmann. It says right here, Heinz Edelmann. And I just love the art style that was used in that, and I feel like it would be a really cool way to incorporate like multiple, I don't know, I guess music releases into the same bullet journal spread. So I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do yet. I really like this image and like this one of them walking along with these kind of like flower and animal, flora and fauna, but in like a cool rainbow psychedelic way behind them. I feel like that's really cool. A little idea that I had, I don't know if I want to do this, would be to draw the four of them, the four Beatles, but also draw myself in it. Maybe I'll be like in the background or something, but I feel like it's a really a fun idea of like a way to make it more personalized. I don't know what this image is from, but this is a very similar style, and I love the like weird textures that are in the sky here, which is fun. This is like a weird psychedelia. I don't know what's happening in this image. This is also by Heinz Edelmann. I don't think this is for the Beatles. Yeah, I love this. This is like a vinyl cover of like a compilation of songs for teenagers, which is cute. But yeah, I think I'm gonna try and stick to this style that was used in the Yellow Submarine movie. I don't know. Oh, I love this image too. This came up when I searched Heinz Edelmann, I'm pretty sure. I don't know for sure if he was the one that illustrated this, but I love this design. It's so beautiful. So that's what I found for now. I am going to go into my journal and do some sketching, and then I will pick up with you guys again later when I have some concrete sketches of things to do. I feel like I don't usually show my sketching process, and it's less because I don't want you to see it and more because it takes me the longest amount of time. That's a lot of footage to like sort through, and mostly the number one reason is because I sketch in pencil and you usually can't see it on camera. So it's when I have filmed that in the past, I've imported it and like started editing my video, and then you literally can't see a single thing that I'm doing. So I'm like, okay, I don't know why I would go through the effort of like filming all of that when you can't even see it. So I'm just gonna do some basic sketching, and then I will catch up with you later, okay? Okay, it's an indiscernible amount of time later. And I finished my little sketch for my divider page, so I'm gonna show you what I did. I was a little concerned when I started sketching because I didn't want to like copy something directly from the Yellow Submarine video, because I don't know, I just felt like that was boring, and I don't know. So I ended up picking a screen cap from the video where I liked all of their poses, like each of the Beatles, and so I ended up drawing that, but more in my own style, even though my style is very similar to the one that I'm emulating in this, but I just wanted them to be a little bit more of my style and not like directly copied from the video. And then I'll just show you the rest and I'll explain it. Once again, I hope you can see this. So I ended up drawing the four of them down here in a little cluster, and I wanted it to be like they were planting a bunch of like psychedelic plant life as they walk. So this like big forest of like cool flowers and trees and stuff gets bigger as they like are further away from it, so it's like growing out of them and they're walking down this little hill. And then this is going to be a similar pattern to the underwater pattern that's in the background of the Yellow Submarine video. And then I just wrote, "Hey June." This is like a very similar style to the single cover that I showed earlier. Also, here's my other British musician king, Harry Styles. So yeah, I'm just gonna do the line art now, which I think will probably take the longest. So we're gonna do that. So here I am doing my inked in line art. This is me using a Sakura Micron Pigma fine liner. These are like the favorite fine liners that I almost always use in all my videos. If you're ever wondering, that's what I use. My favorite size that I use most of the time is the 08 tip. I also use 05, and then sometimes I'll use even smaller ones, like if I'm doing some fine line work or something like that. But I thought that it would be a good time to just talk about, I think what I want to talk about during this voiceover is composition and balance. So since I don't always show my sketching process while I am actually doing it, sometimes I feel like I miss the opportunity to talk about my philosophy towards doing layouts and composing a cool and balanced image. So I think as you watch me do this little line art section, I will chat about that. So I feel like when you're doing composition for bullet journaling, it's different than when you're actually just drawing on a piece of paper or something like that, because you do have to take into account the weird aspect ratio that a full page spread of a bullet journal is. It's like really long and not super wide if you're doing a single page, or, you know, also similarly if you're doing a double page spread. But you also have to take into account the fact that there's the gutter in the middle where the fold of the pages is. So this is something that applies to regular drawing and composition also. The fact that if you put something right in the middle of the page, it is drawing a lot of attention to that, but also is kind of a boring composition. So if you just center everything, it's not super interesting to look at, and it doesn't pull your eye around the piece as much as it would if you kind of off-center things, put things that you want in focus into like a corner, not all the way in the corner, but you know, on one side of the page, like kind of using the rule of thirds by putting something on like the halfway to 3/4 of the way point over the page. So for example, here, I knew that I wanted to really highlight the characters, so I put them on like the rule of thirds, so in the middle of the left page. But I also knew that it was going to be a super busy composition with all of this line work for all of that flower section. So I wanted to make sure that above them, there was going to be a lot of clean, white, empty space to make sure that your eye is pulled towards that like area of rest for your eye. I feel like that's something that people talk about a lot when you're doing a composition, is having places for your eyes to rest, especially if you're doing something that's super busy like this. So I wanted to make sure that I left that area right above their heads as clean white to make sure that you were drawn towards them. And then from there, that kind of like a rainbow line of the ground kind of draws your eye out towards the rest of that plant life on the right side of the page, which I think is a cool way to do it. And then also putting the text in that white area allows you to really, you know, have your eye drawn to the text as well, which is, yeah, my philosophy. Okay, I wanted to show, this is my final divider page with the line art done. I feel like it looks so cute. I'm really happy with how it came out. While I was working on it, I was like, I don't know about this, but I actually do really like how it came out. I feel like they look really cute and simple. They do look pretty similar to like the original movie, but a little bit different, a little bit more in my own style, which is a little bit simpler. And yeah, I also wanted to show, I did this really simple header on the calendar page, and what I did was I just drew out the letters first in outline with a pencil, and then I filled in the entire background with a bunch of these different like plant life shapes that I used. It's like all of the same shapes behind there, and I just went over all of it with some line art with my Micron Pigma pens, and I really like how that came out. I feel like it will look cool when I fill all the background in with color and then just the text is white. I feel like it'll look really cool. And then I think on the next page I just did my habit tracker grid, so I haven't worked on that yet, but I think what I'm gonna do now, I'm either gonna do the color here or I'm gonna do the black and white line art for the rest of the pages. I haven't really decided yet. I feel like I should wait to do the color until I have more time during the daylight to work on it, because this is the kind of thing that when it gets darker in my room and it's like very yellow light, it's hard to see color for what it really is. So I usually like to do that during the daytime. The sun is setting, so I need to work on what I can while it's dark outside. So I think maybe I'll do my little illustration page, my header for my habit tracker page, and my moment spread. I think that's what we'll do tonight. So yeah, here is me working on my little illustration page. I know this is a really horrible angle, and I'm trying to figure out a new angle to film these videos at. I know that the best way to see it is just doing a direct, like, overhead view, but as you can see here, I really bend over when I'm working on something. So anytime I filmed a video at that angle, my head is like covering half the page half the time. So I feel like, I don't know, I'm still trying to figure out a good way to film these videos, but this is what you have for now. But like I said, this illustration is super fun. I know I said before, I had the idea of drawing myself as a little character in the same style as the music video, and so I decided to do that here as the illustration page because I didn't end up putting myself in the divider, and I just drew myself in the same style as the video, also shooting out some plant life. I'll talk about it later. But yeah, for the composition for this one, I know I said before that centering things is boring, and it is usually, but when I do these singles page spreads in my bullet journal, usually the pages are so like tall but not super wide, so it's kind of hard to do compositions with that aspect ratio. But I think that this looks really cool too, because there's the character and then white space around her head, and then the shape of her arms really push your eye up into the top of the image where the text and all of that flower art is. So yeah, that's really cute. This next clip, I do not know what happened with the exposure. Okay, sorry. Hey guys, it's the next day. I didn't film a lot of what I did last night. I've been like, I don't know, I feel like everyone that I know has been in like kind of a weird funk recently. And I am also. So I was working on this yesterday, and I was really just enjoying the time to myself and like enjoying working on it with no consequences and not like thinking about anything else, and just like sometimes I just like to do that without having to pull out the camera and film all of it. So I finished the line art for all of the pages. So I drew my illustration and I did all the headers and stuff for my other pages. I'm going to show you what I did, and then I'm going to do the color right now. I am hopefully going to film that. I have a feeling this is going to be a short video, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, I'll show you what I did yesterday. Okay, so this was the divider page that I finished yesterday, and I showed you the process of doing that. And then here is my cute little illustration. I know I mentioned earlier that I thought about drawing myself in this page to kind of like make it a little bit more personal. And since I didn't end up doing that on this divider page, I wanted it to make it very clearly about the Beatles here. I thought it would be fun if I drew like myself as a little girl character, like in a very similar scene. So like I said, from here I wanted it to look like they were kind of making all of this plant life grow as they ran along. And so here I did a similar thing where it's like shooting out of my hands, which I thought was so cute. And then I did "All you need is love" as the quote, which is fun. I do think I showed this yesterday. This is my little header for my calendar page, and then I also did these. This is my little goals and habits page, and so I did a similar text effect here, like a little swooshy text effect, and then I drew some of those like flowers and trees behind the text, which I think is really cute. And then here is my moment spread, which I did the same thing as the calendar header, where I just drew the text and then I filled in behind it with the plant life. I am going to start working probably on this one. I want to do them first because I want the colors of their outfits to match the ones that they wear in the Yellow Submarine video movie, and then I will figure out the rest of the colors as we go. So here is me doing the color for my divider page, and I thought that this would be a cool time to also talk about color palettes. So when I'm drawing on something that is pre-existing, like this Yellow Submarine video, I know I want to really honor and emulate the colors of that original video while also giving my own little twist on it. So what I did here was I first drew out the characters, and I had my whole bag of my Tombow markers available. I was pulling out the markers that I had that most closely reflected the colors that they wear in the original video, because I knew I wanted it to look as similar as possible. And from there, I started working on things that I knew I wanted to look similar to the video, and then moving towards things where I was like, I don't really care if this is exactly the same as it looks like in the original thing. So I went in to do that little underwater pattern that is the ground. So I actually did follow some of the real color patterns from the video. And then here I'm working on the plant life. So the way that I went around picking the colors for this was I first colored in things that I knew I wanted to really stand out and have that color really highlighted. So I knew I wanted to use this kind of like chartreuse green color. So I used that first, and then started pulling some other colors that I really wanted to have highlighted. So this like buttery orange color, and then I knew I wanted to have like red and some other like bright blues. And from there, I went and filled in the rest of the elements in this scene with colors that I had already used in the image. So like colors from the ground or from that rainbow stripe or from their outfits, because something that I've realized, if you're doing something like this where you're doing all solid colors just colored in line art, it looks really weird if you like have a random color used on one of the characters but it's not used anywhere else in the entire scene. So I tried to use like that weird purple color of, I think it's John Lennon's pants. I tried to use that in other places, like it's in the ground and I think it's in some of the flowers, because it would look very out of place and unintentional if that color was used there but nowhere else, which is why I made sure to highlight like those green and the red and buttery orange colors in the flowers first, because I knew I wanted those to be a highlight, and then making sure to pull all the rest of the colors from the rest of the image to really fill in the rest of that plant life, because I knew it was going to be super rainbow already, so I didn't really care. And so I had this little pile at the top of the screen of the pens that I was using and made sure to be pulling all of my colors from there. And then this is just me working on the color palette for the illustration page. I did a similar thing where I made sure to color myself first, and then I used some of the colors from my own like little outfit up in the top of the image, and that was a good way to make sure that everything was tied together really easily. Also, a good thing to do is to color in things you know have to be a certain color first, like those rainbows. I was like, they have to be the right rainbow colors. So I did those first and then filled in everything else after it, because those things didn't matter as much what color they were. I know this is like getting really into the nitty-gritty of literally coloring, but I feel like it's a good question that I get a lot, which is like, how do you create cohesive color palettes, especially when you're using a lot of different colors? And I feel like that's definitely one way to do it. Especially here when this whole area is filled in with color, I feel like a good thing to do also is to make sure to tie in a lot of deeper tones with some lighter ones. So I knew I liked that chartreuse, that like butter orange color, some like teal, turquoise blue colors. So I wanted to make sure that I was also using some like dark greens, some dark purples and dark blues to really like create dimension and depth in that image, so it wasn't just like super flat like neon rainbow colors the entire time. Here I'm working on the header of my calendar page, and for this I did the same exact process like on my little moments header and stuff like that too, and I'm following that same philosophy here where I'm coloring the rainbows first because I knew that those had to be the right color to look right, and then I'm filling in some other colors that I knew I wanted highlighted. So here I wanted to have that dark green and the chartreuse green, and then I went in and filled the rest of those like flower and cloud-like shapes with like whatever colors afterwards, because I knew I had like a solid basis of the colors that I really wanted to highlight first. And yeah, so that is just a little bit on my philosophy towards doing color palettes. When you're doing something super rainbow like this, you definitely have to pay attention more, which is why some months in my bullet journal, I just stick to like 2 or 3 colors and leave it at that and let the actual design of the piece do the real talking. But sometimes, like on this one, it's really fun to just break out as many colors as you can fit onto the page cohesively. Hey guys, so it's a couple of days later and I finally finished all of my bullet journal spreads and I'm going to show you what they look like. And here is my bullet journal theme. I love this divider page. I feel like it came out so cool and funky with a cool balance of colors and highlighting the characters, but also this really cool psychedelic art inspired by Heinz Edelmann. I also included this little checkerboard border, which I feel like is super cute, and a small detail that it was really fun to draw. Here is my calendar and my illustration page. I love the way these headers came out. I feel like they're so eye-catching. And then here is little me shooting out some rainbow flowers. And here is my habit tracker and my moments page. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed coming along with me while I made my June Beatles inspired bullet journal theme. If you really like this theme and you want to use it for your bullet journal, the digital download printable digital versions of my journal are now available in my Etsy shop, so you can go shop those if you want to use it. And yeah, thanks for hanging out. If you want to see more from me, definitely go follow me over on Instagram and on TikTok so that we can hang out and chat about bullet journaling and all of my other artistic stuff. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Everyone is watching, but I still feel so alone, alone, alone. And I've been waiting on a miracle, but by the time it comes